what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Foot Candle Films. Film news and reviews from two guys who really like movies.
This episode is brought to you by the Foot Candle Film Society. For a schedule of upcoming screenings and membership information, visit the Society's website at www.footcandle.org.
Hello and welcome to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. My name is Alan Jackson. With me, Chris Fry, and we are with the Foot Candle Film Society and the annual upcoming Foot Candle Film Festival. Chris, good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. And today, folks, as we are recording this, we are actually announcing our lineup for the 2025 Foot Candle Film Festival.
Today, isn't it?
So by the time this episode's released, in theory, you should be able to go to footcandlefilmfestival.com and see a lineup of the films, a schedule, and all that good to get tickets or whatever. So, that
will be coming up in end of September, late September, the last week to a week and a half of September. Our film festival is coming up. So yes, Chris is correct because I hit some buttons on a website last night to make things happen. Awesome. And yes, as of the time you're hearing this, you can go to footcandlefilmfestival.com and learn all about our festival coming up September. It's going to be great. Okay. And we'll mention that a little bit more later in the show. But let's get on to more pressing items for today, Chris.
Got you.
This is Foot Candle Films. We have our, we discuss movies. We do movie reviews. We also go through a few news items of upcoming movies that we're interested in. And like per usual, or at least most of the time normal, Chris has got a recommendation for us at the end of the episode, a film that we're recommending you might want to check out. And I'll get to echo in and jump in on your recommendation because I know what it is. And I've seen it and I can chime in as well when we get to that point. But first and foremost, we have a film to review, a brand new film. And that film is the film Eddington, directed and written by Ari Aster, who we have seen do several other films that we've talked about on the show. I think we talked about Hereditary when it came out.
I think we definitely did Midsommar, and I know we did Beau is Afraid.
And Beau is Afraid. This is his fourth feature film.
Okay.
If I'm counting correctly.
I think you are, yeah.
Yep. And this one starring Joaquin Phoenix, also Emma Stone and Pedro Pascal. We're going to be discussing that film here in just a moment, and then we'll go into some a little bit of news and our recommendation later in the episode. Sounds good to you, Chris? Are you ready to get started with our main review?
Yes.
Here we go. Here's our review of Ari Aster's Eddington.
Of course, they keep looking at that lab in Wuhan, China. If you look at that lab in Wuhan when that was established, it was 1956. Of course, that was the year Tom Hanks was born, the first celebrity with the virus, Mr. Sleepless in Seattle.
If you value your life, you should think twice. Because the people of Eddington like guns.
Your pain is not a coincidence. You are not a coincidence. We are not a coincidence.
And I am speaking now to deny my husband's announcement yesterday, which was false.
Eddington, New Mexico, despite its meager population, is quickly being co-opted in online circles.
I'm ready to continue leading our town and fighting the pandemic and the racial and economic.
An eye for an eye is a commandment found in the Bible in the book of Exodus, expressing the principle of reciprocal justice, measure for measure. Mahatma Gandhi is often quoted as having said, "An eye for an eye will only make the whole world blind." These two ideas were on my mind as I watched Ari Aster's Eddington. The action centers on the small town, New Mexico town of the film's title, as things spiral out of control when folks going through the coronavirus pandemic in 2020 have tensions from the present and the past create havoc as a mayoral campaign gets underway. As the film closed, I was left thinking of Alex Garland's Civil War from 2024 and the dark vision of America it presented. Later, as I logged Eddington on Letterboxd, I noticed I was not alone in thinking about this comparison. Alan, what are some thoughts that came to your mind during Eddington, and what'd you make of the film?
I don't think there's really anything here to discuss or review. I mean, it's a pretty
cut and dry,
pretty simple, pretty laid back film. I just, I didn't really think much about it afterwards. No, of course I joke. Yes, this is there's a lot to process here with this film. And I will say, people like to use the word divisive a lot when talking about Ari Aster's films in general. I happen to be a fan of Beau is Afraid, his last film, where I know
I was not as big.
You were not,
yeah,
and I totally got it. Like walking out of a theater, there's no doubt in my mind. I'm like, yes, I absolutely can understand people not liking this movie. I get it.
Right.
If my brain was wired just a slight bit differently, yes, I could come out with a completely different experience watching this film. Eddington, I'll say similarly, same kind of situation going on here. I ultimately really liked this movie.
Okay.
But I totally understand and get it not working for people. And because, again, if there had just been one synapses a little different in the wiring of a brain, it would have had a completely different impact and resonate differently. I think the fact that this film is dealing with a subject matter that we are all still pretty raw from. And I've seen some arguments after watching the film myself. I've seen some arguments online, people saying some people feel like it treats it a little too flippantly, or it kind of uses it as more of a punchline at times and more exasperates the anxieties that people had and tries to almost make light of them. I get all of that. I'm putting my own historical associations aside and saying, I'm looking at this as, what did this film do? And how did the film present itself? And did it work for me? And the answer to that was yes. I found myself engaged with what was going on. I found myself, I think I'm understanding what Ari Aster is going for in certain situations, although it's not always clear, and that's fine. I don't need it to be super clear, like what the intentions of the film are. But I think I've got, by the end of the film, I think I've got it in my head straightened out pretty well. I just enjoyed the film because I will say I think Joaquin Phoenix is really good. I think Emma Stone is pretty good.
She didn't have a whole
not
lot
to do.
Yeah.
I thought Pedro Pascal was good. I thought the supporting characters were probably all better, like all the actors. And I don't know a lot of their names offhand. Deidre O'Connor plays Dawn, which is the Sheriff Joe, which is the Joaquin Phoenix, his mother-in-law in the film. Interesting character there. We had two police officers that work with Sheriff Joe. Both of them really good. Michael Ward plays Michael. And then I think Luke Grimes plays Guy. Both of them really good. And there was some interesting scenes involving them that I liked a lot. Even I'll throw out and say I thought Austin Butler, again, another smaller role playing Vernon, thought was really good in this. So I enjoyed the performances. I enjoyed the filmmaking at hand. I thought it was a really well-made film, really crafted film. It's a bit long. I think it does overstay its welcome late in the film. I do think it loses its way a little bit late in the film. But overall, I did like this film, even though it's a very uncomfortable like. So for me, Chris, I am very curious to hear your thoughts on this.
So leaving the theater, I kind of mentioned in my little intro that one of the thoughts I had was a lot like Civil War, which that film was a very difficult sit because of just the politics going on in it. Mm-hmm. And that film I left saying I liked it, but it was a really difficult sit. Immediately after leaving this film, like you say, I guess it's 2025. It talks about things that happened in 2020, but are still kind of happening today as far as political divide. Mm-hmm. It was such a rough sit for me that I do admire the film, and it is hard for me to say I liked it, but I'm not going to give it a 1-star rating, if that makes sense. It's just, it was, I guess, we've talked about before sometimes how we call things like one-time watches or whatever. It just was so rough for me. And I found it it's interesting that you said some of the things online that you'd seen referred to it as kind of, they thought they were flippant about things, or that, tags in IMDb have it as a comedy, dark comedy. Then they say contemporary Western, which I'm like, okay, it's New Mexico. You have these two sides kind of facing off, and they're like shootouts and stuff. Okay, that contemporary Western, I could see a little more. Maybe that would make sense. But I don't think there's one thing that I laughed at.
What? I didn't laugh at anything.
Okay, well, there's one thing so you mentioned some of the people in the film. So Pedro Pascal plays Ted Garcia. He is the mayor of this town. Then Joe Cross, played by Joaquin Phoenix, is the sheriff. Okay, so they end up getting in this competition to be mayor. Well, Joe Cross is driving around in a truck at one point, and he has all these slogans and all this stuff all over his truck, just littered, papered with the stuff. Well, one of the phrases on the side of his truck is "you're being manipulated." And instead of YOU''RE, meaning you are being manipulated, it was just YOUR being manipulated. So I saw that and I did laugh.
Yeah, sure.
But that was the only time I laughed.
Oh, no, yeah.
Because it's just, it was such a tough sit. And, some films, granted, you and I'd seen the trailer. I don't know if we discussed it on the show, but I think maybe we did. But I kind of knew this was going to be a rough set. So that going in, that was an expectation. I was like, whoa, buddy. It kind of starts off and you're like, this is it. So it was just so intense the whole time for me. But, and I can see how it's divisive. I won't say that I don't dislike it, but it was tough.
It's a tough watch, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's, I think early on when there are scenes and sequences that, all of us, anybody that we're talking to, anybody listening to the show can remember 5 years ago.
Sure.
And what the climate was like anywhere in the United States, but really smaller towns. We live in a town that, I'm not going to say Hickory is a, quote, small town. It is
not as small as Eddington.
It is a smaller town.
Sure.
In the scope of towns and cities in the United States. And I remember the climate. I remember we've always had a divisive country. I think there's always been a level of divide within our country between people and factions of our society.
Sure.
COVID kind of exasperated that so much so. And this film reminds us of that. And it's just, you can kind of see how, I don't want to say it was the nucleus of the division we're facing now, because I think there were a lot of other factors that led to it. But I think this is just that exploding point where it's like, okay, now it's super clear that there are, society is splitting and we are finding ourselves on opposite ends of these cultural poles. And this is a movie that, in those first 30 minutes where like there's a scene in a supermarket and it has to do with masks, and the one in a bar, and it's all about, the extremes that people are taking in their positions and feelings, and how you could just see right away, this is just now caused this community to just completely splinter across. It's painful to watch because we not only lived through it not too long ago, but to see it happening again on screen was tough. It was tough to see. Now, Ari Aster, I think, plays with this a little bit. He does poke some, quote, fun, although, yes, not comedy, but he is having fun with some of this extremism on all sides. He is railing against those that are they thought COVID was a hoax. They thought, the government's just trying to repress them and all this other stuff. And then he also is making complete fun of the people that are just going overboard on the other side and being kind of the protesters. They have George Floyd is mentioned, and they have a activist who is white going out there and saying things that, and then she actually kind of calls herself on it, but then is also called on it by other people. And I think I can see how this is a hard watch, but I think Ari Aster did a good job of trying to say, kind of saying playing
like,
it.
There's problems on both sides here, people.
I think I agree with. I think he's definitely kind of exaggerated it a little bit on either side, but I think probably in a small town of this size, in this place and culture, it probably was about like we were seeing it here on the screen.
that was kind of the whole where the eye for an eye thing is like people just, it kind of got out of hand.
Now I will say that I think about halfway through the movie, it shifts a little bit in that the whole COVID thing has happened.
Right.
That has now instigated where we are.
Correct.
At this point now, it's about dealing with repercussions, and it's dealing with the aftermath of now we have seen this society split. Okay, now what is it doing to the characters in their lives? Mm-hmm. And it becomes, I mean, I've heard a lot of comparisons. You even mentioned, I think, No Country for Old Men, and it absolutely is. That's the film that I got the most comparisons to in the second half of this film.
Which is kind of a contemporary Western as well.
It does become that contemporary Western.
Sure.
COVID is still, and the pandemic is still a little bit of that hanging specter over the second half. But I think at this point, the film's kind of moved on from that. It's like, no, now we're more focused on these characters, Joe, the mayor, the impact that this whole situation has now created in their lives and the actions they have taken to deal with it and the repercussions of that. So yeah, reaping what you sow, like, type of thing. It's and I liked both elements of this film.
Okay.
I liked the social commentary early on in the first half for sure. And I did like the little more, not revenge, but more, revenge, retribution, kind of personal salvation storyline that's kind of going on in the second half of the film. I liked both elements of it. And I will just say, I think the shoot 'em up parts maybe a bit much, a bit long, a bit overdone. That's probably my only real criticism of the film, is I do think I think it was probably about 10, 15 minutes too long, elongated in those areas that I just kind of didn't really have a lot of enthusiasm for. So, but I did, I admired it. I appreciated it. Can't say I like it because again, that's a tough thing to say with a film like this, but I will actually watch this again, and I guess it's painful. It's a tough watch. It's not a watch I'm looking forward to, but it is one that I feel like there's a lot I'm still missing, and a lot I'm not picking up on, and a lot I'm not seeing with the relationships with the people here. I'd like to kind of explore more.
It's denser than I thought it was going to be, the film, with all the things going on. There's a character, which he's kind of a rambling townsperson that may have some mental issues, may not. We are led to believe towards the end of the film, I think, that he probably had COVID because it seems to be he acts as a spreader to some of the other characters. But in his ranting that you hear him, he isn't just like yelling obscenities. He's actually saying some things. And I would be interested to know, like, if I had a transcript, is he like describing the film? Like, because I think
could be,
that's how layered this is, that you're kind of like, okay, what does this play? You mentioned kind of the complicated family dynamics going on between Joe Cross, his wife, and the wife's mother, and they're all living together. And like, there's a lot that could be thought about how that's played. And then the mother-in-law, her obsession with conspiracy theories. And it's like, okay, there's a lot to parse there.
Yeah.
So
what did you think of performances? Just because, I mentioned, I thought performances across the board were really good, but did you have any thoughts?
I would echo that. I thought performances across the board were really good. It's interesting. There are two folks in this film. Pedro Pascal, he's going to be in the film we're probably going to review next week, the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, that's right. Because I commented earlier how it was quite the Pedro Pascal summer, and Eddington and Fantastic Four coming out. I mean, granted, probably appealing to very different markets and audiences, but back-to-back films for him. So yeah, and plus we just had Materialist 3-4 weeks ago.
True,
4 weeks ago.
I did not catch up with that one, but that one did come out. So he's on. So no, I thought the cast across the board was really good, and something that kind of surprised me about it too was that when I think of Ari Aster films, I don't usually think of like a really broad cast, like an ensemble cast doing a lot of really good work. But in this, it was like, I think I said this about a film recently, I can't remember which one, but the cast didn't have to be this good. You could have just had, Pascal and Phoenix and Emma Stone, and that could have been it. But instead, you had all these other. You have Austin Butler doing a spot. Like it's just everybody is really, bringing a good their A game to things. So that really impressed me. Aside from that, though, and maybe it's just because Beau is afraid, Joker Folie à Dieu, and then there's a Joaquin. As opposed to Pascal, which I guess because Joaquin Phoenix has been around in the cultural consciousness longer to me, like, with The Master and Gladiator, I feel like he does good work, but I feel like just because his last couple of characters have been very intense, I kind of feel like I need a break, or he needs to do like a zany comedy with Will Ferrell or something like that.
Like a rom-com or something.
Right.
Or something like
granted, one of the things that I don't remember where it fell chronologically, but the thing that I felt like he did kind of step away was we showed it for a Foot Candle Film Society, Come On, where he was like a journalist and he was going around like talking. Oh, yeah. And it was like kind of a softer thing. But I don't know. It's just
he's an intense actor.
Well, that's true.
I will say this. I mostly like his work. There are times I feel like I can see
him
working.
Capital A acting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, when I think sometimes his performances are very hinged on ticks and interesting little stammers and ways that he's trying to accentuate his acting in a performance. I do feel that sometimes. I got little hints of it here with this one.
Okay.
But overall, there are many, many times in this film where I forgot it was Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay.
And I really felt like Joe Cross I got as a character. So that's always, to me, the key for a good lead performance is if I kind of forget that there's an actor behind that facade and I have bought into this character. And I do believe there are many places I totally bought Joe Cross as a character or the sheriff in the situation. There are a couple scenes where I'm like, oh no, there's Joaquin doing his acting bit. I kind of get it. The character did shift a few times, did have some kind of a few moments where I'm like, I don't know, they kind of lost sight of the character a couple scenes. But when they got it reined in and he was on target, I felt he was really good. So
I think too, when Joe Cross makes he's struggling throughout the film. That this opening scene shows him struggling with his wife, he has struggles with Pedro Pascal's mayor character pretty much right off the bat, struggling the entire film.
Yeah,
but there is a point where he kind of has a break, and there's a dramatic shift.
Yeah,
it almost I would need to watch again, which I guess would be tough, but I could do. It seemed maybe a bit abrupt, where it just kind of and I guess it was like it needed to kick into gear and kind of start rolling towards the end of the movie. And it is like once that happened, but it just, I don't know, it felt maybe a little, well, but I guess it worked for shock value because I was like, oh.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
And I think there's actually after the moment where the tone changes due to a very quick, shocking event, there is a long shot meant to really let you wonder who just did this.
I see. Okay.
And it's like, it kind of worked for me because it's like the whole time the camera is actually physically zooming, I think, towards this individual.
Okay.
And it's like that whole time you're like, okay, did this break happen like that? I mean, is that what I'm watching here? Because I kind of could buy it if so. Yeah, it was a little abrupt, but I think that was very intentional to kind of make it be very jarring like that. So I will say the shot, I'm just going to say the shot itself of a shot.
The shot of a shot. Got you.
Was really good / shocking.
Yeah.
The way it was handled on screen.
Sure.
It was, I will say it honestly got a gasp out of the audience. I'm watching this with an audience in a small theater here in Hickory that was not very engaged with this film, did not seem to really appreciate it much at all.
Okay.
Had a few walkouts right in the middle of the film, just people, but that scene got elicited huge gasp out of people. And it's like, yeah, it was well done the way it was paced and edited in there. And then it did just change the whole tone of the movie at that point. It's like,
sure.
Okay, now we've gone from political, societal commentary to yeah, this is a Western now, and this is a, we got a situation here we're dealing with. So anyway.
Yeah. So interestingly, I'll kind of close out the thoughts that I have. According to IMDb, a bit of trivia, which I think is interesting in this case. Yes. Ari Aster wrote this script long before the COVID-19 pandemic began. He was actually going to make it his directorial debut. He tried for a couple of years to get it made and ultimately shelved it and made Hereditary instead. When he was doing the press tour for Beau is Afraid, he said that he had mentioned, I have this script for it takes place in a small town. I think it's going to be my fourth feature. He updated it to do the post-2020 lens and gave us Eddington. So it's interesting to think about this film would have maybe seemed a lot like, instead of me thinking about it within the context of Civil War and kind of like the political nature of it, if it hadn't had that lens, it may have seemed more of which it still had hints of A Country for Old Men, but it would have been more of a parallel to that.
And that's really interesting because that's exactly the way I felt about the film, is that after the first hour, and this is a pretty long movie, 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
After the first hour, the whole pandemic is a background element, but it's not driving the plot anymore. It is, the plot has been set by that first hour.
Right.
So I wonder what could have been the impetus for these societal rifts pre-2020. It could have been political. Could have just been, the sheriff had different political views about the running of the city, the town than the mayor did. And so that caused this rift, and now this rift has just gotten kind of out of control.
Or it could have been something we I think maybe we alluded to it or not. We may have been off mic, but the wife at some point was girlfriend, boyfriend, had some kind of relationship with
the mayor.
Pedro Pascal's mayor. So maybe it would have been nothing more than like not being able to let go of the past. The sheriff would have always held that against the mayor.
But I think the film needed something society-wise.
I see.
To be the umbrella over the story and let that personal story between Joe and the mayor and their personal things kind of be the result. It's like, this is a bigger picture over it, but then you focus it down to these two individuals, which is what this film does. It just used the pandemic as kind of that umbrella. Right. Anyway, I don't know what the idea would have been for that. It had to have been something. I can't imagine Ari Aster was just going to make a Western film. Hey, here's two guys, sheriff and a mayor, and they have their beef with each other, so they're going to have like fights and, to try to control the town. That doesn't sound like a film that he would make. There's something bigger there. So the pandemic, for as horrible as it was for everybody involved and a shame for our society, he took it and said, well, this is the lens that my story now needs to be under post 2020. I will give you another little piece of trivia on the same note, because we haven't really talked about social media and the impact that social media had within this film, which I thought was also very well done.
Sure.
I love the fact that Joe Cross, this sheriff, this very kind of very conservative, very set in his ways, kind of likes his town the way he likes his town.
Doesn't want change.
But yet, anytime he gets a little bit stressful, he gets on social media and starts scrolling. Yes, that's what people do. That's what he is doing. And unfortunately, in this situation, it is actually feeding, because he is just being fed the stuff that he is following on social media, and he's just being fed more and more to get him agitated and more upset about things. So everybody's doing that. Everybody is like hopping on their phone at times to like get fed whatever information they want to get fed. Ari Aster had a quote saying about this film that, yes, he wanted to make a Western, but he liked the idea of a Western where instead of people unsheathing their pistols, they're unsheathing their cell phones. Like the cell phones are the weapons. And there's many, many scenes where you see Sheriff Joe or others reaching, and you think it's typical they're reaching for a gun. No, they're reaching for their phone, because either somebody's going to try to take
they're weaponizing
video,
social media.
They're going to videotape something, or they're going to look up something and show somebody something they found online to prove their point. So I thought that's a really good way to think about it too. So
interesting.
Yeah. I did admire this film. I totally get it that it's not going to work for a lot of people. I totally get that it could be a very, very difficult watch for people. And I get all that. Absolutely do.
Sure.
It still does not prevent me from saying I really kind of admired it and kind of appreciated it to a high degree. And I actually do kind of want to absorb it again sometime soon.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. I figured this is a film that was going to generate a little more discussion.
Yeah.
So.
And if I was trying to compare it to the rest of his films, I don't know what I would say my favorite Ari Aster is, but I did like it better than Beau is Afraid. So, because, Beau is Afraid is probably my least favorite Ari Aster
I
film,
think at this point, Eddington might be my favorite Ari Aster film. Hereditary is still pretty up there for me. I mean, I really do like it. I'll admit, I Midsommar, I've seen a couple of times now, and it doesn't hold up as well for me. I don't know. So I think I'm Eddington, Hereditary, Beau is Afraid, Midsommar.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I am finding myself liking all of his movies at this point. Even the ones that I don't love as much, I still find a lot to take in from him. So I'm on board with him. He works for me. Always excited to see what he does next. So, okay. Well, that was Eddington. Might want to catch it quickly in the theater. Don't know how much longer it's going to be around. If you're not in a large metropolitan area,
right?
So you might want to hurry out there. If this at all sounds interesting to you to go check out, this may be a better one. I mean, honestly, I think this is one you could probably stream at home later on. It is a lengthy watch, so it might be a good one to kind of take in shifts and breaks, and also to clear your head a few times throughout as well.
Right.
And the subtitles, at least for the belligerent person that you were saying you wanted to know what he said, maybe having subtitles on the home screen
that could be enlightening.
Helpful. Yeah. All right. That is Eddington. All right, Chris, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to completely change gears and we're going to go talk about the new Pixar movie that is coming out. Not Elio, because Elio's been out in the theaters. Elio did not do very well for theaters, but Pixar is going to try another original film soon. We got the trailer to talk about and watch. And then we also have a recommendation from Chris that I'm going to chime in and talk about as well here at the end of the show. So stay tuned. You're listening to Foot Candle Films, and we'll be right back in just a minute.
Want to discover great podcasts or maybe even start one of your own? Welcome to The Mesh, Western North Carolina's podcast network built for creators and listeners alike. From local sports and business to comedy and culture, The Mesh is home to unique voices and fresh perspectives. Do you have something you want to say? The Mesh can help you bring your podcast to life with the tools, support, and platform you need to be heard. Check us out at themesh.tv, where great podcasts live and new ones are born.
Welcome back to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. Again, Alan Jackson, Chris Fry with you here. We had our review of Ari Aster's film Eddington in the first half of the show. Coming across, summing it up, I admired, liked it, anxious to see it again. It may be a one-timer for you, but you at least appreciated it, although you did not like it. Is that fair to say? I mean,
yeah, because it's a tough film, kind of like you were saying, to say you like. But the more we've talked about it, the more I think I do need to see it again just to appreciate some of the layers. So
yeah, layers. That's a good way to put it. So, all right. Well, Chris, let's completely change gears and talk about something about as far removed from Eddington and Ari Aster as I could possibly imagine. And that is a new Pixar movie. Now, Pixar, Chris, you and I have reviewed some of Pixar's releases over the years. Mm-hmm. We haven't really talked about one in a while. I think Inside Out 2 was a big hit last year. We didn't
give a formal review to it.
Elio is one that just came out like last month and did not do, like box office wise, did not do well at all. Like was one of the lowest opening for a new Pixar film ever.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the last time I saw a Pixar film that really worked for me. I don't know when that is.
I mean,
we was Turning Red a Pixar film?
Yes,
that was straight to streaming.
I get so blurry on that because of like Disney and Pixar.
They all kind of have blended.
I think it was, but I can't swear.
Which I
to
thought
it.
was okay,
and that came out during the pandemic.
It did. So that was like at least 4 years ago.
But I really liked Turning Red, and Luca also came out during that time, and I liked Luca.
Luca was okay.
Yeah, I liked Luca.
Yeah, but none of their films have really just like. Yes, that's Pixar's made another classic. I mean, I'm afraid they're just going to have to. They're already talking a Toy Story 5, I think now at this point.
That is going to be.
And then I've heard The Incredibles 3.
3.
Which, yeah, unfortunately, when you start to get to the point where you're having to rely on your sequels of stuff,
it's problematic.
That's where you are.
I think the last film. There again, chronology is kind of fuzzy. The last film that I walked out of, like, whoa. I really, really like that. I think would have been WALL-E.
Well, yeah. I mean,
maybe if you go that far.
And WALL-E was definitely in the
I was like, okay, that
classic
is really
Pixar
good.
period where it's like that was a good movie.
Actually, you know what? I know you knocked them. I have liked every Toy Story sequel so far.
Oh no, I have too.
I liked 4, which a lot of people did not like.
I knocked the fact that they made them.
4, yeah, okay.
But I did enjoy all of them.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing. Sure. It's like, yeah, I mean, I may be, in theory, against the idea of keep milking when number 3 was a perfect ending to a trilogy.
Understood.
To go back and milk it as 4 and like felt cheap. But I did enjoy number 4. So, what do I know? Yeah. I'm looking
because
right
without
here.
4, we wouldn't have had Forky.
We wouldn't have had Forky. Very true. Good point, Chris. Yeah, here's going backwards in time. This is their last releases.
Okay.
Elio.
Didn't see it.
Inside Out 2.
Did see it.
Did see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not.
Okay.
Elemental. Did you see Elemental?
Okay. That is, to borrow a term I learned in college from a history professor, actually. That was the nadir, which means the absolute low. Elemental was pretty low for me. That one was not good.
This is me going backwards.
Yeah.
Inside Out 2, Elemental.
Yeah.
Lightyear was before that.
And which was kind of a Toy Story spin-off. Yeah. I saw Lightyear.
Toy Story adjacent.
Yeah.
Then Turning Red before that.
I liked that, yeah.
Then Luca before that. Then Soul.
Okay.
Then Onward.
Onward.
Now, to me,
Onward had a lot of potential, but didn't quite meet it. Okay.
I think we're looking at a period of time right now, Chris, from Onward, which was March 2020.
Onward.
I think is what we're in a low ebb period of Pixar films.
Okay.
Where, I mean, they're not saying they're not good ones in there. It's just none of them really caught cultural attention and really are being regarded as great films.
I got you.
At the end of the day.
Gotcha.
Because before Onward, or previous than that, was Toy Story 4.
Okay.
Incredibles 2.
Oh, and people like
Coco.
Yeah. Okay.
You had the Cars franchises, which hopefully that one has died out. Finding Dory.
Yeah.
The Good Dinosaur. Okay, that one didn't go anywhere.
Right.
Inside Out. Monsters University. Anyway.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think this last 5 or 6 films has kind of been their trying to figure some things out, and they're trying to do it without relying on a lot of franchise stuff. Although Inside Out 2 was a repeat and Lightyear was a kind of related film.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky times. Well, all that to say, Chris, all that background is that Pixar does have another film that they've released a trailer for.
Not
that
a
will
sequel.
Be coming out. Not a sequel.
Okay.
An original film. So again, could this be an original film that will get them kind of back in the cultural status that they had with their franchises or with some of their earlier original films? Don't know. We will see. This one is called Hoppers, and it is slated for release March 2026. We got about 8 or 9 months for this one.
It's all about the Dennis Hopper family, and
it is voiced by Dennis Hopper, and I do not know any other Hoppers other than Dennis, but I'm sure he has family.
I think so.
No, this one is about a group of scientists who have discovered a way to mind hop into robot animal bodies. Okay.
Oh,
so we're going sci-fi.
Dear.
We're talking scientists getting beamed into robot animals' bodies. Okay. So when Mabel,
I got to kind of wrap my head around that.
All right, well, hold on. Let me see if I can expand on the plot line a little bit. So in Mabel, an animal lover, learns that a construction company wants to destroy the local animal habitat. She uses the clever new technology to inhabit the body of a beaver. Okay.
So it's kind of an Avatar thing going on.
Well, that is a joke in the trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, they actually joke about Avatar. Yeah, it is a funny riff on Avatar within the story of the film itself. Speaking with Variety, this is all from Variety's release about the film. Director Daniel Chong said, the whole discussion had been debated about unveiling the Avatar joke that's in the trailer that we're going to see. Yes. It's very intentional to kind of be that way.
Okay.
Bobby Moynihan is also a voice actor in this film. I like Bobby Moynihan a lot. Former SNL guy, has a great distinctive voice and is very good with this kind of work. And John Hamm plays Mayor Jerry, the one who's trying to destroy the animal's habitat. So that being said, Chris,
okay,
you know what? I have not seen this trailer. I also have not gone to buy a ticket for a Pixar movie in a really long time. But you know what?
Could this be it?
Could this be it?
Here's the thing. I will give it this. A, it's not a franchise, and right. B, it seems like a kind of whacked out premise, which usually appeals to me. This is not based on a book or something. I wouldn't think this is like completely kind of an original idea. Like, okay. Yeah. So let's see where this goes.
All right. Well, here, we're going to watch the trailer as long as I have it here. Yep. We're going to watch the trailer for Hoppers right now.
We've done it, Mabel. After years of work, this revolutionary technology gives us unprecedented access to the animal world. We put this into this. Yes. This into this. This into this.
So let me get this straight. You created a fake animal.
Yes.
Which makes the other animals think you're an animal.
Yes.
Guys, this is like Avatar.
This is nothing like Avatar. Mabel, be careful. Whoa.
Hey.
How you doing? Girl. Nice feathers. Hey, big boy. What's up?
I understand you.
What you doing?
All right, so that's the trailer for Hoppers. I did chuckle a few times.
I'm in.
It's funny. It's got a cute little beaver as the main character.
Sure,
so,
and
that works.
It is a little like kind of jokingly sci-fi. The jokes in the trailer worked for me. I will say too, I had heard of this film, but all I knew that it had beavers in it, and I thought it was just going to be. You like when it's real life animals made to look like they're talking.
Right. Yes.
I thought this was going to be nothing but a talking animal movie, kind of like Wild Robot and stuff like that. And I'm like,
animated talking animal movies do nothing for me. Okay. Because there's no magic. Because there's no magic. You can animate an animal. You won't make and put a human voice in it. That's easy. I want real animals.
Gotcha.
Shot animals on film, moving mouths.
Right.
To resemble people talking. That is what works for me.
That is high cinema.
That is much harder to pull off. And I appreciate the efforts on that.
Sure.
No, I mean, yeah, but I did find this.
I did. So just, you saying the premise before we watched the trailer, I was like, oh, okay. So it's not just a talking beaver movie. And now having seen the trailer, come March 2026, I think I'll probably find my way to a theater to see it. So,
well, and I think honestly, okay, here's my prediction. I think this movie will actually be a pretty good hit for Pixar.
Okay.
Because it does not seem like, at least on the surface, it's going for any grander, big topic. It's not trying to be a more important film.
Well, there is going to be a little bit of environmental stuff in there.
A little bit, but I got a feeling it's going to be a little tamped down.
It'll be light. Okay.
Yeah. And I think, I think people like animals, talking animals, animated talking animals in movies.
Yes.
Especially when some of them are cute. The whole premise of now that she can listen and understand what other animals are saying, I'm like, okay, yeah, that tends to work with people. People like that. I got a feeling this is going to be a good modest hit for Pixar. It's not going to set the world on fire. It's not going to be like a WALL-E. It's not going to be like a cultural shift point Pixar film, but it'll be a good success for them. I think it'll make them some money. So.
Yeah, looks like it could. So.
All right. Good deal. Well, that's Hoppers coming out in March 2026. All right. So with that, Chris, that's all the news I had because really there's not a lot else going on.
Fair enough.
I mean, really, I combed through all my typical websites. I went through all my news sources. Nothing of interest to
And you
talk
weren't
about.
tempted to make up any news?
Oh, no, I make up news all the time, but it's just not worthy anything really interesting to share in the film here or in the podcast. So
fair enough.
So what we'll do is we'll just go and skip on through any other news, and we're going to go right to our recommendation. This is at the end of the show where Chris likes to give us a recommendation of a film that he either recently saw, caught up with, or revisited for any reason and wants to recommend it to us as something to consider checking out. Chris, I will be okay if it's okay if I hop in and kind of chime in on this recommendation a little bit once you start getting into it. All right, go ahead. And what's your recommendation with this episode?
So a film that was actually released in 2025, but I think it was technically a 2024 film. It is called Bob Trevino Likes It. It's directed by Tracy Lehman, and it is her first feature film. It stars John Leguizamo as a Bob Trevino. There's also another Bob Trevino called French Stewart, which I'll explain the plot here in a second.
Yeah.
Barbie Ferreira plays Lily Trevino in the film. She unexpectedly befriends an online stranger who shares her self-centered father's name. This new Bob Trevino support could transform her life. So she finds this Bob Trevino on Facebook, trying to track down her father, and sends messages and comes to find out, well, it's not him, but then starts to develop a relationship with the new Bob Trevino. I will say I liked the film, and John Leguizamo, he's been around a long time. He's done some good stuff, but even though this is kind of I don't want to say a Hallmark Channel movie, but you kind of have a feeling for where the film's going, and you can tell it's a heartwarming kind of story. But his use of just, tamped down comedy, because, John Leguizamo is known for being huge, big, loud, but tamping it all down and just playing like Mr. Regular Guy, I think it is quietly some of his best work that he's ever done. Barbie Ferreira playing Lily Trevino, she should win an Oscar for the category of most believable ugly cry, because unfortunately she is moved to tears more than once in this film, and she was really, really good. I mentioned French Stewart. I could not figure out who he was. I was like, this guy looks familiar, but I can't figure out who he was, playing her dad, who is he's just not a good dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could, and it was French Stewart, which the last time I remember seeing him was Third Rock from the Sun, which is a completely different kind of role.
Yes.
So it was cool to see him, but then not know who he was until the credits rolled. I'm like, oh, it was French Stewart.
Yeah.
So it was neat. Little side note before I let you chime in. This story was based on an experience that Tracy Lehman actually had, finding another person that had her last name and kind of, meeting this person and learning a little bit about them and helping her. So it's kind of cool that it was based on a true story. And this is a rare instance too for me. Well, not rare instance, but I'll say it definitely is an instance for me. As we screen this for our film society, I mentioned it to the audience afterwards. I have absolutely no interest in finding out what is factual and what is not factual from this story. True. I think because I know it's the director who had this experience, and she's like, this would kind of make an interesting film. And I don't care what aspects she may have heightened or may not have heightened, because the film just worked for me in and on itself. And so I'm just like, I don't care. And I don't want it to ruin my experience if I find out like this wasn't true or whatever. Because I'm sure it was a good film in its own right.
I mean, honestly, it would have been fine if I'd never even heard that it was based on a true story. It's like, the film works on its own. And I think that's a nice sign for it. I'm going to echo a lot of the things you said about the film. I did like this film as well. I thought the performances were really what made it work for me. Again, I'll echo your thoughts on Barbie Ferreira as Lily. Was really good. John Leguizamo was just so easy to watch in this film. He's just so effortless with his role. And then French Stewart. That was a tough performance to watch because he's a very difficult person to to see on screen. The character given, but French Stewart did a really good job of playing it off.
And it was nuanced too, because you can tell he's struggling with some things himself.
He's troubled. Yes.
He's troubled. And so you want to give him credit, but you just see, just when you think you've seen him do kind of some of the most manipulative stuff to his daughter, he then like one-ups himself. And you're like, seriously? Like,
yeah.
So.
No, I thought the film handled where the film could have gotten very schmaltzy and very overly sentimental. It stayed within the right lanes where it felt authentic. Yes, there are some moments of that you could kind of foresee a little bit, some moments of drama, some moments of some plot shifting a little bit.
Right.
But it was handled so well, and I think so effortlessly, and it just felt very good and natural. I think the choices the story made at the end, whether it's based on true story or whether it was made for the film, it doesn't really matter to me either.
Sure.
But I think the overall tone of the ending of the film was really good. I did have one kind of issue with
some of the mechanics.
Some mechanics with the ending, at least some characters' actions that I didn't felt like rang true, and I felt like we're a little manipulative for a film at the end. It was 5 minutes of the film that I felt like I wish it had been a little more authentic, like I feel like the rest of the film was.
Gotcha.
Other than that, though, that was the only quibble I really have with the film. I think overall it was really good after beyond that.
Yeah, and I think it plays. So if Eddington, that we reviewed in the first part of the show, is the film that's going to make everybody hate Facebook, this film will say, you know what? Facebook can do some good things, because this film, she finds this, inspiration in her life through Facebook. So it's like the good and the bad of the internet. It can do some good, but it can also be some bad. So
yeah, this show is a nice epitome of those polar extremes of the internet in general, social media, specifically. I thought it was a good story. I thought it was a well-made film. Thought some really good performances along the way. I did enjoy it as well. I just enjoyed the authenticity.
Yeah,
that I feel like. Our three lead characters gave to it.
And it was so awesome too, because take some other actress, one of the girls, she's related to Jonah Hill, can't remember her name right now. She was in Booksmart, but take her and put her in the role that Barbara Fiera did. She probably still would have done a good job, but I liked not really knowing this actress. I liked it being a smaller independent film and having somebody that I don't know, it's so-and-so. And it's like, nope, this is this person who looks maybe familiar. She's been in other films, but I don't know her.
Yeah.
And like,
I think that helps.
That was great.
That's great. So, she could kind of craft a character for us that we didn't have any preconceived notions about at all. So, no, Bob Trevino likes it.
Yes.
God. Although I was joking with the audience at the Foot Candle that I kept wanting to say Lee Trevino likes it. That's just the name I kept thinking this movie was titled. And I have to remind myself, no, Lee Trevino is a golf player.
That I only know about because of The Simpsons.
The Lee Trevino golf video game.
Yes.
Yes. So I have to remind myself, it's Bob Trevino likes it is the name of the film. So please, when you're searching, use Bob as the first word in searching for it, not Lee, please. And the writer-director Tracy Lehman, kudos to her for a great piece of work, and
first feature debut.
Anxious to see more of what she does in the future as well. Yeah. All right. Thanks for the recommendation there, Chris. It was a good one. And that is going to wrap us up for today. We had our review of Eddington. We talked about the new Pixar movie coming out next March, Hoppers. And we gave our joint recommendation, really, of Bob Trevino Likes It. Available for rental online at all places you can
and probably
movies.
Will eventually be streaming
somewhere. We don't know where yet, but right now I think for $5 you can check the film out if I remember correctly. All right, Chris, if anybody would like to chime in on any topic we had during the show today, how can they get a hold of us and join the conversation?
You can send an email to info@footcandle.org. You can leave us a voicemail via the contact page on the mesh.tv website. You can follow us on Facebook at Foot Candle Film Society, Instagram Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter, we're Foot Candle Film. Al and I are also on Letterboxd, where we try to keep track of what we're seeing. Do us a favor, if you like the show, give us a star rating, write a review, or share with friends on whatever service you receive your favorite podcasts on, because it'll help us reach new listeners. We'd appreciate that. Last but not least, we talked about it at the top of the show, but the 2025 Foot Candle Film Festival, coming from September 19th through the 28th. It'll be our 11th festival. It's going to be a great one. And the lineup should be up by the time you hear this podcast. So go check it out. The lineup being at...
Not should. Is.
It is. See, that's awesome. It'll be at footcandlefilmfestival.com.
All right. We look forward to seeing everybody in late September here in beautiful Hickory, Catawba County, North Carolina. But until then, we'll be back next week with more podcasting reviews, movie discussions, all that good jazz. We will be back next week. We'll see you then. Take care.
See you in the ticket line.
Watch films in the company of like-minded people in the dark. Watch films in the underground. We won't let anyone know where you are. The films that don't make it to Carmike at the mall, or ones that were famous when Grandpa would watch films out of the reverence of the heritage of an art. Watch films through the courtesy of Foot Candle Film Society.
Special thanks to Carpal Tuller for the show theme music. For more about Carpal Tuller, visit www.carpaltuller.com. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.